Alright guys, so today we're going to continue working on our case study index page where we will be going over the HTML structure and the CSS styling for it. So let's go ahead and jump into the project. Alright guys, so today we are going to be finishing up our case studies page here. I've already got the server up and running and I have the project open in Atom. I'm just going to go ahead and come over here to the prototype and show you what it is we're going to be working on today. Today we will be adding in this section here, both going this way and the reverse. Now we're going to go through the HTML structure of it, and I'm going to go through the styling of it with you as well. However, I will be going in and adding in all the real content afterwards. We're just using some filler content that's in the prototype for today. So to get things started, let's go ahead and let's go to Atom. And the first thing we're going to need to do is go to our case studies page. And so we're going to remove this bit of code right here. And that's going to get rid of this right here. So save this, refresh. And there you'll see it's gone. So now we are ready to start working. Everything we're going to be adding here will be beneath this header. So to get things started off, we're going to write a div with a class of case studies wrapper. And close this off. Cool. And inside of this case studies wrapper, this is where we are going to contain each of these like little overview previews for each case study. So let's go ahead and add that in. So it's going to be a div with a class of case study preview, just like that. And down here, we'll close it off. And now inside of here, this is where we're going to start writing all of our stuff. So first of all, if we go ahead and look at this, we have two main pieces here. So we have this little body of text, and then we have these images. So what we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to add a div with the class of text. Whoops. And all of the text will go in there. And then I will also add another div with the class of image wrapper, just like that. And then the image will go into here as well. So let's go ahead and start adding this text in real quick. So we're going to have an H1. We are going to have a paragraph tag. We are going to have an H6. And we are also going to have an anchor tag. So this anchor tag will be pointing to the actual case study, but I'm not going to be putting anything in the href right now just because there's nothing for it to point to at the moment. Again, I will be going in and adding all of my real content into the case studies like templates that we've already built up here. It's just going to be using text and images, and we already did all the styling for it. So it's just a matter of me putting in images, these galleries, and some paragraph tags. So that's where that would be pointing to. But like I said, we are not going to be putting anything in the href in this video. So let's go ahead and see what we need to put in the H1. So the H1 is safe step floors. Safe step floors. Let's see. I'm going to go through here and just quickly write all this in real quick. All right, cool. That's all we're going to need for that paragraph tag right there. So now we're going to add stuff in our H6. In our H6, what do we have over here? We have web design and development, branding, and print. So let's go ahead and add those in. So we got web design, development. Then we have like a little bullet point. So that's going to be ampersand, BULL, and then a semicolon. And then we have branding. Then we have that same bullet point. So ampersand, BULL, colon. And then we have print. So that's all we need for the H6. And then now the anchor tag will say view study. So let's save that. We can come over here and just refresh this and take a look, see if it did anything. All right. All right, there we go. So we have our H1, our paragraph tag, our H6, and our anchor tag all right here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're just going to go ahead and add this image in. Okay. So let's go ahead and we're going to grab, well, we're not going to grab, we're going to just write this in. So it's going to be image source. Yeah. And this is going to start off with curly brace, site dot base URL, just like that. Okay. So, but before we go ahead and add the rest of this path in, we have to add these images into the project. So I have these two images here. I have this one for the first image and the first case study, and then I have this one which would resemble the reversed version of it for the next case study in line, because if you look at the design, they switch off. So we have this one's on the right, this one's on the left. So that's essentially what we're doing. So let's go over here. We're going to open this up, go to assets, images, case studies, and we're going to take these and we are going to put them right in here. Okay. So let's just go ahead and copy this name. Okay. So the path to this image, it's going to be / assets, image, case studies, and then / it should be just the file name right there. Let's go ahead and see if that worked. Refresh. And there it is. All right, so let's go ahead and jump over and let's work on some styles for this real quick. So we're going to be doing this in Sass layouts, case studies. So down here at the end of this, we're just going to start with our case studies wrapper, just like that. And this is just going to have a couple styles. It's going to have a width of 100%. And it's going to have an overflow of hidden. Now, next, let's see what we got inside of there. We have our case study preview. All right, let's go ahead and grab that. So our case study preview, let's give it a margin of 100 pixels on the top and bottom and 0 on the left and right. I'm going to give it a height of 100 viewport heights. I'm going to want this to display flex because I'm going to want to have an easy way to split the content, so we have text on the left and an image on the right, and then easily be able to flip and reverse that, so we have the image on the left and the text on the right. And that's what flex will allow us to do. So flex direction is going to be row. Justify content will be space between, and then to keep things center vertically, we are going to align items center just like that, and we can go ahead and save that. All right, so there we go. Whoops, come back. There we go. All right, so you can already see we have the text on the left and we have the image on the right, and it's taking up this entire 100 viewport heights right here. Here, let's just go ahead and look at this in the inspector. So you see right there, that's the 100 viewport heights. All right, so let's go ahead and let's start styling that text. Let's style the wrapper for the text just real quick. So the div with the class of text, and that is going to be max width of 400 pixels. And let's give it some margin of 0 on the top, 20 pixels on the right, 0 on the bottom, and 100 pixels on the left. All right, cool. So that's gonna make it a little more like this, and it's gonna push it off the side a little bit. So let's go ahead and start styling the actual text inside of that. Let's grab our H1. Let's make that a font size of 2.5 em, and a font weight of 300. And let's go ahead and style our paragraph tag next. We're going to give that a font size of 1em, a line height of 2em, and margin of, let's go with 10 pixels on the top and bottom and 0 on the left and right. Now let's go ahead and style our H6. Our H6 is going to be a font size of, it's going to be a font size of 0.6em. It's going to have a font weight of 800 because it's nice and chunky in the design. Let's make sure we got the right font family on here because the header is a little different. Font family is going to be the variable of font stack2. Color is going to be primary. Let's do margin 30 pixels on the top, 0 on the right, 10 on the bottom, and 0 on the left. Let's go ahead and look at that real quick. All right, let's refresh it. All right, that's looking pretty good. I'm gonna turn the opacity of this down a little bit. So let's do opacity 0.8, and that should be good for that. Now we can go ahead and jump on our anchor tag. So our anchor tag is going to be display of inline block, and the color is going to be our highlight variable. Highlight. And let's see, font family is going to be the font stack2 as well, the variable. And let's see, font weight 700. Let's try that. Font size, I want it to be just a little bit bigger than that, than the H6. So let's go 0.8em. And let's give it a little bit of padding. So I want the padding to be 0.25em on the top and bottom, and then 1em on the left and right. Let's give it a border of 2 pixels solid of the highlight variable. And let's give it a little bit of border radius. So border radius, I'm thinking like 3 pixels. Let's go ahead and wait for this to load and we can refresh it. All right, that looks pretty good to me. Let's add a little styles for when you hover over it. So it's gonna be and hover. And I'm basically just going to want the color to change to the secondary variable. And I want the border color to change to that secondary variable as well. Save it. Let's refresh it. There we go. All right, so that's looking good. Now we need to go ahead and we're going to style the image wrapper. So let's come down here. It's going to be one behind the text. Okay, so it's going to be right here. So it's going to be image wrapper. Let's give it a width of 50% because I don't want it taking up any more than 50% of the I don't want it taking up any more than 50% of this right here. I want it to stop right here. So if we set that at 50%, and we can set the height to take 100%, just like that. Let's see what happens here when we refresh it after everything loads. All right, that's looking all right. It's close. It's just not as tall as I want it to be. So what we're going to do now is we're going to grab the image inside of that, and we're going to give it a height of 100%. Let's take a look at this now. All right, this is pretty close. It's getting there, almost there. All right, so to go ahead and fix this from shrinking up, what we're just going to do is we're going to give this a width of auto, and it should keep the aspect ratio of this image. Let's see when this finishes, and let's refresh it. And there you go. That is exactly what that is supposed to look like right there. So this is what this is supposed to look like. As you see here, we do want the styles to change just a little bit as this comes in here. We're going to need it to break. So let's do this at like 815 pixels. Let's do it right here. So at media, screen, and max width of 815 pixels. We are going to give that so let's see. We're going to be changing the styles for this case study preview. So we're changing this flex direction row to flex direction column. That's going to cause it to break down. And let's give it a height of auto now because it might take up more space. Let's see what happens. All right, so when we get to 815 pixels, there we go, it breaks. The styles are just slightly off from what I want them to be, so let's go ahead and make those changes. The text, we are going to give a margin of 0 on the top. That is not margin, that is margin. 0 on the top, 20 pixels on the right, 50 pixels on the bottom, and 20 pixels on the left. Now let's go ahead and just take a look at that. All right, that's centered now, so that's good. Now I want the image to be a bit smaller because it's pretty crazy to have to scroll through. So let's come down here and grab the image wrapper. And let's say a height of 400 pixels, just like that. And on the image, I'm just going to, no, that should be good because we've already declared 100%, so it should retain that style. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so let's see if this stays there the entire time. So it breaks, and when it breaks, you'll see it's no more than 400 pixels tall. It's still hanging off on the edge over here, which is what I want. And as this all shrinks up, you'll see this doesn't end up hitting the edge, and we still have space here. And it only will take up no more than 400 pixels height. So that'll be much easier to scroll through in that case. So this is all the styles that we need for this first part of this section here. Now the second part is going to be this, and it's going to be this reverse. We're not adding this horizontal rule, but we will be doing this real quick, and we will be adding this all the styles to be able to reverse that easily. So what we're going to do here in our HTML is we're going to grab our entire case study preview. We are going to go ahead and at the end of this class here, we're going to add another class to this. It's going to be reverse. And let's change this image to the reversed image as well. And let's just go ahead and see if that has worked so we can start styling that. All right, perfect. So this is the reversed image. And now we can go ahead and start adding the reversed styles. So in our Sass, let's go ahead and let's just copy everything we got right here. And let's just paste it down here. And then at the end of this, we're going to put the class of reverse on that. Okay, so there is a few things we are going to change. First of all, on this flex direction, it's still going to be row, but it's going to be row reverse. And so when we do that, you'll see this. It come on, refresh. It's probably the only thing I don't like about Jekyll is it takes a little while to be able to refresh the page sometimes. But you'll see now the image is on the left and the text is on the right. So that is what we want. We do just have to make a few more changes. Let's see. The first change I want to add is going to be on this margin for the text. We basically want to flip this. So it's going to be 100 pixels on the right. And then it's only going to be 20 pixels on the left. So that is good for all of our text. We don't need to change any more styles for the text. But down here, when we get to the image, this image tag right here, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to float this right. As weird as that sounds, we need to float it right. And let's refresh and see what happens. Now, just by floating that right, it's now keeping it inside of this container that we have stuck to this left half of this page. I'm not 100% sure why that is like that. It's just pretty funky, to be honest, to me. I thought it was pretty weird, but that is literally all that we got to do to get this fitting over on this side appropriately. So when this comes up close to here, you'll see that this doesn't end up running into this, just like it did not up here. And when this breaks, let's see what happens. All right, so it just broke, and this is still chilling on this side over here. So this is our styles that we got right here for our case study index page. So what I will be doing in the near future is I will be going and adding in the appropriate content for each of these case studies. So it's going to be the appropriate title, the appropriate description, the appropriate skills used on the job. This will point directly to the case study that we've already done the styles for. And this image will represent the case studies website or whatever the project may have been. So that's pretty much it. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you liked it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. If you have any questions, leave them down below. And I will see you in the next video.